So it's an indoor working day today because it's snowing. So as you'll already know, then we have the OBDIIC&C on the dashboard displaying various bits of data and acting as a useful interface to the car. So I've now added speed, throttle position, sense and RPM to the parameters that it gathers, so it can utilise those. It's also outputting those on the logging output constantly, so that's useful. That's a debugging screen you can see there just for my own use. I'll just go to one of the main screens. So this is the main BMS screen. You won't see this unless you actually have a BMS fitted. I've packed full of information, as much as I can get on there. I've got a couple of extra parameters here. Speed and RPM are here. So I was mentioning I was going to try and utilise one of these devices in the back in place of the IPU Interceptor, so I could adjust it much more easily. It would be more flexible, and also it can communicate with this device on the dashboard. So basically I'm going to have another one of these in the back, which is going to do all the work, and that's going to be sort of built into the IPU setup. And if you remember, it was I had one of these big black boxes which I've just fitted into the back with the current mods in. So I'm going to do another one of those, and with an OBDIIC&C built in. This is actually the infinite variable current hack you can see here. I haven't put that in yet, but that's what I'm looking at. So basically I've now got this, which is the big version of that. So this is basically built into this black box, so that's identical to the one that's currently fitted in the car. So that's basically an OBDIIC&C with a couple of very small mods to the circuit board to make it obviously receive CAN data. So this is going to be plumbed into the FCAN bus as well, and this is just listening. This is just a dumb device at the moment. And what it's listening to here is the TPS throttle position sensor, because if you remember I said I wanted to activate my peak power mode mod using the throttle position sensor, not current. So it only responds basically when you put your foot right down, so wide open throttle level. So it's just telling us the current throttle level at the minute, and as this is running off my dummy car, it's not accurate data, but that's what it is. And this next number is just the key button press number. So if I press the button, that changes to a different number. So it's doing all its IPU interceptor stuff. So it's going to be plumbed into the IPU, so it's going to be intercepting the voltage and operating the peak power point mod. But instead of measuring current to do that, what it's going to do now is it's just looking at this CAN data, which is coming in every 10 milliseconds, and it's just going to respond instantly to that. So obviously I can adjust this trigger level here very easily now. Instead of having to reprogram the damn thing all the time, I can just flip up the back, and then I can just go into like a menu system here, and I'll be able to set the throttle threshold for the peak power point. And if I then go to the variable current mod, I can tweak the values for the variable current mod without having to reprogram all the firmware all the time, which was a bit of a pain. Obviously that worked well for the development, so I'm not complaining really. And this is just an extra, this is just the next step along the road basically. So eventually these two will talk to each other. This one's just listening at the moment for the TPS packet, as I mentioned. This one's also listening for that as well, of course, and that's getting that data as well as speed and RPM. So with this now we can do some proper logging, and we should be able to get some decent graphs. So eventually these two will talk to each other, and this one will be able to send commands to this one in the back, and vice versa, or it'll be able to send information. So this one may be able to pick up some information from the IPU that can't, and it can send it to the other one. So that's potentially, you can just put CAN packets on the FCAN bus, and we can go from there. So at the moment it's all working very well, but it's snowy outside today, so I'm not going very far. So it's a bench day today, programming and software for these various devices. Hopefully I'll get this installed perhaps at the weekend if the weather's improved. I've got some proper work to do later on this week. So that's where we are at the minute, just tinkering around, making some progress, as you can see.